Whoa. Can you guys hear me? Because it just told me that live streaming was not available. And wow, these lights are pretty killer here. Let's get this bad boy rocking. Tonight's drink of choice is another lightweight drink. Mike's Harder Lemonade. Warning. So I've got another one on deck just in case. So right off the rip, people were asking some questions regarding Frontosa. Candy, how's everybody doing tonight? Corey Hecker, what's going on? I've got this new shot going on. I want to upgrade the webcam, but that's just going to take time. However, it's got everything. And so my desk will eventually be here, and then you'll be able to see everything behind me. And then directly behind me will be a case, and there'll be some cool fish stuff in there. But I'm kind of digging it, right? I'm kind of digging this whole vibe, right? Yes. So here's the dealio. Cunningham cichlids. This is going to be fun. The title is Don't Do This. And well, that's the thumbnail. Don't do this, or you shouldn't do this. And then you've got the actual title of the video. And basically the pretense is if you want to make mistakes, then do this. And that is legitimately rushing, not Russian, rushing to do anything within aquariums. And what I mean by that is everything from setup to getting your fish to you name it, it can be an ultimate problem if you rush. So the idea is we want to plan those out. And that's why I keep getting asked questions. Well, when are you going to do anything with that? Come on, man, you're taking forever. Why aren't you doing anything? And then I set up the other aquarium over there and it's like, why aren't you doing anything over there? What's going on? Well, there's a reason for all of this. And it's because I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't want to set up an aquarium. I don't want to put hardscape in. I don't want to put fish in. I don't want to put substrate in. I don't want to just pick a light. And yes, Rush is an epic Canadian band. But it's not that Rush, right? It's not that amazing. It's legitimately making costly mistakes within the aquarium industry. Shipmate, James Rutherford, how's it going? So I've picked out the substrate. Let me drink my, I love drinking these things in public, especially at fish shows, because I always get made fun of. Supernaturals. So Supernaturals, and I love this color, and I think it's going to go good with this Tanganican community. And I'll kind of shift the computer, and we'll pour some in, and we'll just kind of gauge, because I think the tan with the white sand stand and the aquarium is going to look really nice. Hey, you can't get a haircut either. Longest I've ever seen your hair. Is that a challenge? Is that a challenge? Should I try to cut my own hair? Not now, live. But should I try to cut my own hair? Should I? So we'll pour this in just to kind of get a little look here in a few moments. But this Wednesday live is all about somebody said, no, don't cut your hair. It's all about just having fun, right? It's about, getting to know each other, chit-chatting about it, and ultimately morphing what it is we do, whether it's the food we feed, how we feed, whether it's the aquariums we set up and how we set those up, or whatever the case is. So getting back to jumping into something just to do it. It's like, I've got a brand new aquarium. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to put a little bit of rock in there. I'm going to put some sand. Then I'm going to get me some fish. Don't even know if the aquarium fits in the place you want it. Don't even know if it's the right aquarium for your fish. And you don't have any information other than you saw somebody else set up a tank And now you want to do the same thing, but there's so many logistical things that go into play. Now, if you're somebody that just has a buttload of money and you really don't care, you could jump right in and make the mistakes. As long as you're not hurting the fish's welfare, do what you got to do. Shave your entire body hair challenge. I don't have much. I have a lot of leg hair. I don't think that should be a challenge. It's not a thing. I think I'm willing to try to cut my own hair on the sides. I hate the sides. The top doesn't bother me. We can go crazy with the top. We can leave it. We can whatever. But I bet I'm the only one in this room with a signed bottle of Monster 360. No, you really are, because you're the only one that's ever asked me to sign a bottle of anything. And so that's funny, actually, that you have that still. I hope you've used the product. So high and tight. No, I think if I was going to cut it, it would be like right around here. Maybe I will try it. Maybe that's a thing. The top, I don't know, Candy. I like the top. It's professional, right? So do not rush. And that's another thing that I'm going to bring back here is I need help. Looks like a transient hobo. Y'all got any fish that I could borrow? Loving your work, Jay from Australia. Frankie Fish, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you supporting me. It does mean a lot that we get some folks in here every Wednesday, even if it's just to chit chat a little bit. But it's fun, right? This whole thing is fun. The industry should be fun. Fish keeping should be fun. And if it's not fun, then you need to realign some stuff and figure it out. Because if it isn't fun, then it's not worth it. So I've got that other tank that's out. And next Wednesday, we will do the live from that room so we could talk about that tank. But I don't think I want to do a Fahaka really bad, but I also am the type of person where if there's just one fish in there, I'm not going to be satisfied. And if I'm not satisfied with that one fish, it's not going to be fun for me. And I don't want it to end up like that. You know, I'd be getting a Fahaka this big, waiting for it to grow this big. And is it worth that whole aquarium, just one fish? You know, somebody just said flower horn will satisfy. It won't. It's one fish. And so Fahaka you two bigs. So it's one of those things where I need to reevaluate. I rushed into it because I was like, puffer, big, that'd be cool. Yes. And then I scaled myself back. I've got some really cool stone called Frodo stone, and it's not available in the US, but from a couple of places. And one of them is ADG in Houston, and the other, I believe, is in Seattle or in Washington somewhere. And I want to be able to showcase this stone. So I was thinking maybe I can do a few figure eights, or I can do something else where I've got some movement in there. And I think it would be really, really cool to kind of go over that. Is there a puffer or puffers that I can keep together that can go with other fish that are large enough that they won't be able to sink their teeth in? So I don't want to rush it. I want to be able to set it up really nice. Let's see. Social media is great, but it can force us to never be satisfied with what we have because we're always comparing. No, that is true. That goes with anything. But the funny thing is I wouldn't be satisfied because it's just one fish. I don't necessarily think I'm trying to achieve what somebody else is doing, because I think somebody else is maybe an influence or can be an influence. I mean, that's a great question. But as far as me, I don't ever go, I'm going to do exactly that. I don't think I've ever done that. I've seen something, whether it's from anybody. It could be somebody that's not even on YouTube. I could have just been, perusing a local fish store and said, wow, I really like that setup. I want to emulate it in some way, but I want to do it this way. So I've always done something that had my own twist to it. And that's what I want to do with that tank. Like we discussed all the puffers. And if I put just one fish is not going to do it. It won't. I have a tough time. I can't even just leave a betta alone in one tank. Like I've got ember tetras in this one, and I've got neon tetras in this one, and some shrimp and a bamboo shrimp, and they're good. The tanks are good, and they're just much better for me to look at. And maybe it has a lot to do with, if you don't know, I got a lot of head trauma. Maybe it has a lot to do with that. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I need movement. And that's why I've always gravitated towards African cichlids, is because I can put multiple together. I can make it look really cool. And I can't go, all right, guys, I'm going to keep 5 for hackers. This is going to be real sweet. Can't do it. And I think it's a really cool puffer. And then somebody gave me the Congo puffer idea. I believe it was turbofish. And so I did all the research. I contacted a bunch of places. 1, that fish is really expensive. And 2, yeah, it's expensive. It really just came down to price. Barb community. Yeah, I could do a bunch of different barbs. That's pretty wicked. Please do a bunch of puffers. That would be cool. Thank you for signing my bottle. It's empty now. Well, I appreciate it. And Joe, thank you very much for the super chat. What happened to your old tanks? Oh, check out Instagram, man. They're all up there. I'm going to be doing videos from there. I've got them back. Everything's good. And ultimately, we'll be rocking with that. Joe, as far as a bunch of puffers, it's really hard to do that. And it's really hard to do that because they get really big and they get really messy. And a lot of them cannot really be kept together because ultimately they're very territorial and they're big. So it's a tough thing. Now, could I do pea puffers? Yeah, but they're so weak. Every time that I've ever gotten pea puffers in, they've always been weak. They're just, to me, that's just the way they are. And they're fickle. I don't know if I can keep figure 8s. I think they're brackish or brockish, however you say it. I'm horrible with that. I think you can keep a few of those together, but then I have to figure, what am I going to keep? Mollies? The barb thing's really cool. It has to be appealing to me. It doesn't matter about content. It doesn't. If it did, I'd be keeping and replacing things over and over and over again. And I don't. I had that big tank that had all those tetras in it. It was awesome. I had the Geophagus ceramensis, really cool. I had 2 ceramensis left, a couple of quarries, and like a handful of neons after I cleaned everything out. Oh, and a pleco. Check this out. So I drained that tank, right? It was the tank that had all of the tetras in. I don't know if you've seen that video, but I had like 500 tetras. I have a bushy nose, bristle nose, whatever you want to call it, Plecostomus, that has been with me 5 years. He was in that tank, couldn't find him. Didn't know if he was behind the background, had no idea what the deal was. Long story short, 2 days. No, 3 full days. It was 3 full days. I'm going back and I'm going to like muck up the sand a little bit because I'm going to start using it in other tanks. I'm just repurposing it regardless. And I see this little like brown log just like laying like just like this in a little bit of water. No sound, no nothing. And I walk up to the tank and I'm like, oh crap. So I run into the closet, I open it up, I grab the net, I go in. Long story short, pick it up, dump it in the tank. That's full right across the Tanganyika tank. And guess what? This sucker is still alive and kicking. And it was like, this is the second time I've had an issue with this fish where I thought he was gone forever. And turned out it's boop, right there somewhere in the tank. The other time he was stuck in real holy rock. I put it in a bucket. It was like 24 hours later. I go back and I hear barking like, boom, boom, boom. And he's inside the holy rock. I put the holy rock in. He swims out. Still have him. Does something very similar. This time just laying in a body of water. And it was very shallow. And I feel bad, but he is healthy. I seen him moving today. So we are good. Is there any way to get NorthFinUSA in Australia? Absolutely, Frankie Fish. I think it's Frankie Fish. You can get it from NorthFin Australia. Now, NorthFinUSA and NorthFin are not the same company. It's just NorthFinUSA is a retail company was once mine fully, and I'm the founder of it and the whole 9 yards, got it going crazy. And then NorthFin is the manufacturer, the numero uno out of Canada. So they're the ones that manufacture and distribute to distributors and places all over the world. NorthFinUSA is like what's the best way to describe it? NorthFinUSA is like what Best Buy is to Sony and Samsung, right? So if Best Buy was like, we're only carrying Samsung and we're going to call ourselves Samsung Best Buy, that is exactly what NorthFinUSA is to Northfin. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Candy is all over it. I don't know how she is that good all of the time. What grows faster, Amazon swords or Jay's hair? New tank challenge. Probably my hair, to be honest with you. So let me dump in this sand, and then I'm going to turn the computer here. Ooh, fancy. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to close this window real quick. And I'm going to show what I'm going to do with the scape. So I was on the phone today with Universal Rocks, of course. Ben Dunn is a really good friend of mine, my best friend. And I said, hey, dude, I'm going to do this Tanganyika scape. And this is kind of the way I want it to look. So I showed him a picture of Lake Tanganyika. So yes, I seen it on social media, and I'm going to try to copy it, but in my own way. I can't zoom, so bear with me. Right here, I'm going to have these rocks that I'm probably going to glue to the corner, and we're going to stage it down. And by staging it down, it's going to leave all this area wide open. We're going to add some rocks. Of course, this sand, I'll be able to hide one of the canisters back here. And ultimately, it's just going to give that really cool, like, rock pile from the top of the water, right? So where there was potentially land, it broke apart and fell into the water. So that's the idea for that. Hello, everyone. Let's see. All right. So for me, this is the sand I want to use, but I'm going to do it dry so I can make it easier to take out of the aquarium if I end up not liking it. So, however, I think I'm going to like it. So normally I would never, ever dump sand into the aquarium like this. Typically I do a different style of process, but how I'm going to fill it up is not going to play a role. That's the other thing. Too many times we rush to put water in an aquarium, and what do we end up doing? Clouding the aquarium. And so there's tons of methods that have been used. I think that looks freaking sick. What do you guys think? Man, I look really red in here. Whatever. So I really like that color. That's legitness. So that's what we're gonna do. Edgar Ibarra, what's up, man? So we're gonna take some of the sand that's already wet out of it and put it in here once I get the rocks. But that's it in a nutshell. We're gonna add some rocks, little pebbles. I'm starting to like I don't even know how you say it, the more natural look, right? If I just did sand, like I've had aquariums where it's just black and white sand, which is Carib Sea Sahara sand. A huge supporter of Carib Sea. Carib Sea has always been a supporter of everything I've done, whether it's been at a show or I needed something in a pinch. They've always been there. So this is not, I actually bought this myself from the store. It's not a paid advertisement. However, this aquarium, on the other hand, is pretty legitness. And I'm really excited, actually, because taking this job March 1st was a little nerve-wracking for me, right? Going from chemicals with Fritz to jumping in with a company that manufactures pumps, filtration. It was scary. And honestly, it is like, it couldn't have been at a better time in anything than at that moment when I took the job March 1st. Like when I started, it couldn't have been a better time because there's so many partnerships. My drive is still way up high for aquariums, but it was financially, I couldn't do certain things. And, you know, I've worked my way which I feel, I don't know if this is true to you guys, and girls, but I've used my thought is I've done it in the best possible way that I could do it for myself to turn my hobby into a career legitimately. It's not YouTube. YouTube pays like nothing for me because my views suck. And it's because I don't focus in on it. It's one of those things where I have fun. These are really fun for me. I don't ever go, I got a live video I gotta do. Oh, this is gonna be ridiculous. Like, no, I'm excited. I want to do these. You know, sometimes Sunday videos in the past have been really forced and it wasn't fun for me. And it probably wasn't fun for you to watch because clearly you weren't watching. But now I have access to so many different things and partnerships where I can do things that I wasn't able to do a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago that I can do now. And I'm so very grateful for it and so thankful that I can. And ultimately, I hope to turn that into something where I can give back to you folks. And I know that'll happen. Like if you haven't been an avid watcher of this channel, it would be, and this is not a plug to do it, but it would behoove you to start watching, because as we start to progress through this whole Corona COVID-19 thing, there is some amazing things on the wire. I'm telling you. So somebody asked, what livestock's going in? So this is going to be a Tanganyika community. I'm not sure where I'm going to get the fish. I don't know how I'm going to get the fish right now. The main thing for me is to get the aquarium scaped, get the water in, filtration done properly, and then get it ready. Cycling is not a thing for me. I use Fritz Aquatics Turbo Start, 700 for fresh, 900 for salt, and it's instant. As long as there's an ammonia source going, you can add it and run to town. And it's super easy. There's no, it's just open the bottle, pour it in. There has to be ammonia present and you're rocking and rolling. You can add fish right away. When you get bored of a tank, change it. Keep the interest. Same goes for a job, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I was still interested in what I was doing. It was just the ability to do more, right? I think that's the idea for me, is it's always about like, you're looking for what you can do now, but I have 5-year plans. Let's see. Super cichlids. Is that really super cichlids? Hey, Jay, hope you're doing good. It's been a while. I've just started breeding electric blue rams. Would love to send you a couple of them whenever I get my first viable batch. Can anybody confirm if that's really super cichlids? Or is it just a new super cichlids? Blue rams do. Electric blue rams are cool. I think we had this discussion last Wednesday. Email me, askaway@gmail.com. Literally askaway@gmail.com. And maybe it's something we can do. It's me, brother. Martin Hober. If it's Martin Hober, that's what I'm talking. Man, are you sure? That doesn't even look like the logo. Confirmed. Looks legit. It's just, I haven't seen, man, I hope you guys are doing good. I know you guys got the store rocking. It's a beautiful store. So it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Martin Hober. So hope your back's okay, actually. I know you had some problems with your back. So yeah, we can chit chat about, you have my email anyways. Why should you? Driving home, lurking. Why shouldn't you rush, Priscilla? So does everybody understand that rushing part is, it's me trying to help folks not make the same mistakes that I've made. And ultimately you could potentially make just doing the same things, just pushing it through, setting it up. You're like, oh man, Jay Wilson set it up. Hell yeah, let's go. And then you set it up and you're like, nah, I don't like that. And you tear it down. And then you're like, Or the rush part for me is you rush, you get it set up, and then you've rushed through everything. And then this is what it looks like. Oh, I'm good. YouTube, filter not working, tank cloudy, fish dying. I hate this. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to tear it down. That's it. Lesson learned. This isn't for me. I'm out. Now what? You've rushed through something that actually needed your time and attention. in terms of understanding, learning, educating yourself, and then methodically going through the process. These are live animals. And you rushed it. Now you don't like it. You spent the money, and then you're going to put it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace for the same price you paid, then getting upset because you can't sell it. And then ultimately you just dislike the hobby, and it was never going to be good. You set yourself up for failure. Where if you would have just taken the time and you would have just educated yourself the same way you would do anything else. Anything else, you would educate yourself slightly. Do the same thing. Oh, I see. Getting some of that Mr. Wilson. Oh, good grief. Oh, it's not that. This is Super Cichlids, you mean? Yeah. So I was thinking, was it Super Cichlids that has a store? So I apologize to this Super Cichlids if I didn't know it was you. That's very confusing. I feel like Michael Scott on The Office. That's confusing. So I apologize. We forget that our hobby is maintaining an ecosystem, and that the truth is less change is more beneficial to the fish. Absolutely. It's the same method. 90% view, 10% touch, and that 10% touch should include routine maintenance, water changes, and keep your filthy mitts out of that aquarium. Party people. I know what you mean. Yeah. So this is just a surreal time. I've got 2 empty tanks that I'm starting. Well, actually, I got 3 empty tanks. One's going to be a vivarium, and the other 2 are going to house fish. So I like Biggs's idea about barbs. Does anybody else have any ideas regarding which stock I should keep in a 60-inch by 20 by 20? Not Martin Hober, different Super Cichlid guy. Sorry about the mix-up. But would you still love to get a couple of free fry with viable batch? I made cichlid videos a while back and switched. Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk. I don't want to say yes just because they're free, right? So the idea is I got to make sure that that's a route I would go. So definitely email me, askaway@gmail.com, and we can chit-chat. Someone told me that this hobby is not for lazy people. You got to do your maintenance, your routine. It is not about just to keep fish. It's about keeping them alive. Yes. It's more so about keeping water, right? We keep water first, because if the water's not good, then the fish aren't going to survive. So the idea is, somebody said, lockdown means I'm cleaning my tank a lot more than I should. Stop the boredom. I wouldn't clean it anymore. I understand the stopping the boredom part, but maybe it should be more about reorganizing underneath your aquarium, doing cord management. Maybe when you do clean your filtration, you do exactly what you're supposed to do. Pull the impeller out, actually clean it, clean the impeller, get it back in. Like, maybe we should be paying more attention to the details in this. I've got more time to do this than it is just to go la-da-da-dee, just mixing it up, moving the sand, messing with fish, and then we got some issues. So, but that is good. I do appreciate that. What about a paludarium with dart frogs? So that is, I'm going to be doing a vivarium in the old Geophagus tetra tank. It started off as a predator hap tank, and I had a dumb issue where I rushed. I did a video on that. It was a bad learning experience. Matter of fact, I won an award at a local fish club in Wisconsin for worst thing that happened to somebody in the aquarium hobby. And so lost half of that stock, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. And then fast forward, I added the tetras, the geos. Then I had some personal stuff go down, drained the tank just about a week ago, and it's ready for me to do a vivarium. But I am working with, I'm going to say it. I am in talks with Tanner, Serpa Design, to work with me. Friend to friend. Tanner and I have always been in communication. He is awesome. His work is awesome. And in some way, shape, or form, I want him to help me design this vivarium. In a perfect world, I would love it, and I hope that it happens. But it's one of those, like, yes, I absolutely want Tanner, Serpa Design, #Serpa Squad, to come here and help me scape this vivarium. And I don't know if it'll happen, but it's something that Tanner and I are working on. James Largo, the Cichlid Shack, order new fish from your favorite small business. So absolutely, you should be supporting small businesses right now. That's the idea. You should be supporting a Cichlid Shack. You should be supporting a NorthFinUSA. You should be supporting a House of Fins Greenwich, a Wet Pets of Connecticut, a if you live in North Carolina, you've got Triad Reef Critters, you've got Reef On in Utah, you've got Zamzows in Utah, you've got, guys, you're going to get mad if I don't say your favorite store, so I apologize. You got Fish Hut of New Jersey in New Jersey. You've got, oh my goodness, Aquarium Depot in California. You've got Aquarium Co-op in Washington. You've got Flip Aquatics in Ohio. You've got ADG here in Texas. You've got Dallas North Aquarium. You've got Fish Gallery. I don't know how I'm remembering a lot of these. There is a ton more. You've got Seven Seas everywhere. There's a couple of Seven Seas. Man, there's so many. You've in Ohio, you've got Something Fishy. You've also got it is over. The light went off. The Wonder of Cichlids. Absolutely. I buy fish from Neon Fishkin in Denmark. That's amazing. I had no idea that store existed until just now. Yes, Fanatics in Toronto. Well, it's in Mississauga, but yes, absolutely. I mean, there's so many local fish stores. Support them. Support them. It is ideal. How's it going? It is going good. I'm drinking Mike's Harder Lemonade, and it's cranberry. It's good for my urinary tract. I'm good. There's a lot of stuff that happens day to day for anybody. I'm no different, and it happens, right? So overall, I am feeling healthy. I am doing as best as I can, and I am just loving what I do, and that's ideal. That is ideal for me. Let's get some real questions. How the local fish store can stay above water during lockdown must be a massive struggle. So Dennis Plummer, I can actually give insight to this. I've created a list. And so for my actual job, my career, I am the national sales manager for brick and mortar stores. So all of your local fish stores in the United States, technically I'm in charge of in terms of Sicce products. However, I have created certain lists, right, of regions and stuff that I call stores. And then once I get through those stores, I then work on other stores, right? So I look at pretty much every store in the US and how they operate, what they sell, the whole 9 yards. And I can tell you that the ones that are innovating are thriving. The ones that are implementing internet, the ones that are implementing front door pickup, curbside pickup, deliveries, they're innovating. Those that are not are the ones that are struggling dramatically. Now, I've heard from multiple different sources. One is, I'm down 70%. Holy cow. That is a lot, especially for a brick and mortar. And that means that you have to figure out how to make up that margin. Then I hear, I'm only down 30%. But I get the opportunity to work on other things. And these are the stores that are innovating, right? It's the stores that are working more on social media marketing. They're the ones that are actually using Google. And they're the ones that are like really driving the deliveries, and taking things to somebody's front door and dropping it after they pay for it. I'm telling you, and I hate to say this, but I will say this because this is my personal platform. The strongest will survive. And I say that in the most empathetic way because I love the brick and mortar. I do. I love walking in. I barely get my things on Amazon in terms of aquarium stuff. I don't. I just don't do it. I go to the Fish Gallery. I go to Dallas North Aquarium, and I go to Aqua Studios. I'm always in a fish store, and I love it. But in this time, I guess, and maybe it's a perception of mine, it was like, all right, I keep 2 40-gallon breeders. Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to open a fish store. Woo-wee! And they go all in, and there's no innovation, right? There's nothing behind it. There's no experience. There's no safety net. There's nothing. It's just like, yeah, we got Mbuna. Heck yeah, DeMasonite, 2 for $5.99, right? And they go to town, and ultimately they can hurt, right? They're like they're like the basement dwelling sellers, right? They're like, hey man, got this crusty LED light for you. Make you a deal, $49.99, right? They're almost not as good for local fish stores as what big box retailers are, right? Because bad information, just like pushing stuff out the door. Yeah, I'm interested in keeping my boo puffer. I've got this really sweet custom 30-gallon. Heck yeah, I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 of those, and I'll make you cut you a deal. It'll be the best thing you ever had, sweetheart. And I'll throw you in a free hob filter. You're gonna need that. Scrape bio, right? It's got the wheel. Beautiful. Sell it all to you for $400. Oh, wow, that's so nice. And then boom, crap. Now that person goes into a reputable local fish store. That reputable local fish store is like, hey, welcome to the reputable local fish store. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely not the right thing to be doing. So let me take time to educate you on the way that is proper for that fish. Not the right way, the way that is proper for that fish. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I'm not getting paid for any of this, and you're soaking up a lot of time so that I can correct something that this guy has caused. Now your local fish store is inundated with questions. Their phone's ringing off the hook. I was just going to do something that would probably get me in trouble, but you get the call and it's like, don't hang up. This is an urgent matter. If you have a MasterCard, American Express, Visa, or CitiCard, this message is for you. So between that and, hi, this is John from Comcast Media, and I'm here to sell you an overpriced internet package for your business. You've got that. And you're trying to help Patricia, and Patricia's got 2 Maboo puffers in a freaking small tank with a hang on the back sold by Johnny Jerk Lickenstein over here that just totally jacked it all up. That is not good. And I don't know how I got on that. I don't know how I got on that. So I apologize. Are you done with your aquascape? Yeah, it's done. It is absolutely done. Good to hear. Enjoy the show with Jay getting tipsy. Not yet, but maybe soon. Drinking a little bourbon, looking for a new light. What's your recommendation for a 125? Low-tech Planet Discus and Go. 125. I don't like to go, so the 125 6 foot, right? Unless it's some custom weird thing. But you've got the 125 6 foot across. I don't like doing a 72-inch light. And honestly, I don't even think there's a 72-inch light out there. They go, it's on a 72-inch aquarium. And it's the brackets, right? The light is 36 inches, and they're like, yay! It doesn't work. If I was going to do it on a discus tank like that, to be honest, and this is, yes, Zetlight from Occasion will send me a light. But you see this light right here? I honestly would do four of those. I think they're E100s. I don't know the exact name, so don't quote me. But that would be cool. It does plants. It's low tech, and you can adjust the brightness even though the light is off because of the app. So let me turn the light back on because I got a grouping of all aquarium stuff, right? So I use this globe thing, boop, and I love it. It's like a little itty bitty plug. It's Wi-Fi enabled for dongles, and it's just easy. The other thing you could do is Current USA. I've always been a fan of Current USA. I will always be a fan of Current USA. But if I was going to do something cool with discus, I think that shimmering effect with that Zet light would be, and Current doesn't offer anything like that. If you got a lot of money, then I would probably do an AI light, like a Prime. They have freshwater edition. What's going on I've got 2 of them going on a 36-inch. The shimmer's great. I love it. I've got one on my small saltwater tank that I think something crazy is going to happen with that too. Drinking with Jay Wednesday special should be a thing. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. Every Wednesday, get yourself an adult beverage, sit in front of your phone, your tablet, your computer, whether you got an iMac, you got a MacBook Pro, you got an ebook, an IBM, HP, compact, I don't even know what the heck's out there. Boom, Chromebook, do your thing, watch it, have fun. Zetlite is cool. I will say that I just enjoy, they've always supported me in terms of, it was like a couple of, right before I had surgery, I don't know if you remember, I had surgery on my guts. It was that aquatic experience. I actually got to meet the person that was bringing in the Suns from China. And then I got to meet Zetlite at the same time. So it was like this really cool thing for the first time. They're like, hey, guy, we know you, guy. And you know us, see? You want to do some business, yeah? And we just talked a lot for probably about a year. And then Zetlite sent me the Lancia. It was a cool light. And then they sent me this E100, which is, I love it on that tank. I really do. Current USA didn't have anything that small. I was going to put, I'll show you. I was going to put lights under here. This is a Phoenix. This is a Zetlite, and that's a Fluval. So that's, matter of fact, that Fluval's from Fish Hut of New Jersey. That's from Zetlite. And that Phoenix, I bought that. Matter of fact, I think I bought that from Aqua Studios. I don't remember where I got that, but that was on my sump. Kessel, okay. So Kessel is definitely super like badass, but they're very expensive. So they're great. They're well made. It's just tough for me as a consumer to say Kessel, just to say Kessel, because I've never owned one because they're expensive for me. And it's very hard for me to relate to that. So like the E100 is not expensive. This Fluval is kind of mid-range price. And that Phoenix is inexpensive as well. Oh, and TV. That's pretty cool though, actually, to be on TV. I love drinking with Jay. It should be called that. Drinking with Jay. Maybe it should be called that. Enjoying some Angry Orchard from my tap in the kitchen. Okay, so anybody that knows Cunningham Cichlids, the dude only drinks Angry Orchard, right? But it's so cool. I go to his house. I'm hanging out. And he's like, hey, you want a drink? I'm like, yeah, sure. And he just walks over to the tap and just goes, Angry Orchard on tap. The dude is a beast. I don't care what you think of Angry Orchard. If you have Angry Orchard on tap, you're a legend. Thanks, Jay, for the info. You're absolutely welcome. Thoughts on bucktooth tetras? Are they called that? They're cool, but I've never owned them before. I'm looking back because only thing to do when we're stuck at home is tank maintenance and drinking like a fish. That is true. That is absolutely true. Challenging times makes you become creative. No, that is absolutely true. Matter of fact, you know what's absolutely true? I had a conversation with George Farmer at the Aquatic Experience, the last one that happened in Jersey. I think it's done. I don't think the Aquatic Experience is ever happening in its same setup ever again. But we sat and we had a really cool conversation. And he's just like, you got to be creative. We had a lot in common. Like surprisingly, he's from England. I'm from here. We're both in the military. We both love aquariums. We have a lot of similar personal past, a lot of similar personal ideas and philosophies. It was really cool. And he's just, I was like, man, how do you do it? You just get on there, you set it up and you go. And he's like, it's just one of those things where I look at it as an art. Some people can draw, some people can play an instrument. Some people are really good at fixing things. I'm really good at, setting up planted aquariums and scaping aquariums. And he's right. It is one of those things where it is a craft and you can better your craft with practice. And I learned a long time ago. I played baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport, but I took a year off right before high school. Worst thing I could do. And it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but it had to be done financially with the way I grew up. So I took a year off and I get to baseball practice my freshman year in high school. And it was just absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't catch up to the pitch, whatever. But I learned something. We're practicing, right? And we're practicing fielding drills. And the coach said, practice does not make perfect. And I'm like, what does this guy know, right? He's a high school baseball coach. Practice doesn't make perfect. And then he followed it up. Perfect practice makes perfect. And it was like, he's right. If you half-ass something in practice, your implementation of what you practice is going to be half-ass. But if you practice in the same manner that you want to complete, compete, implement, you can then take it from here and place it here, and it would be the identical effort, right? So that's the perfect practice. Nothing's perfect, but in essence of you're practicing in the perfect manner to implement exactly what you want to do on a game day, work day, scape day, whatever it is. It stuck with me forever. Sorry, left your stream to check the E100, no price. I think it's like $60, something like that. A little less than $60. No way of ordering. Check Amazon. Now you got to remember, this comes from China, so there's a lot of problems right now. Saltwater fish are a problem. A lot of products coming from China are a problem. Kessel is expensive, but they're so crazy easy. Plug and play, especially on saltwater side. No, Bracken, I agree with you tenfold. Shine on, Jay. Heck yeah, Down Gray. 63 Bravo, thank you for your service. Why not in Wyoming? That's a really catchy name. 63 Bravo. Is that a combat engineer? I'm trying to remember. No way. The face. So Candy just pulled it up. It's on Amazon, so you should be able to find it. So let's kind of round this up. Don't rush. Don't rush in what you do. Get your questions. I want a parade of questions. Anything. It could be anything. Is it hot in this room? It is absolutely hot in this room. Which is, I don't have the fan on. Let me actually turn the fan on and see if it does anything. So I was having a problem doing live streams on Instagram with Sicce because the fan was actually showing up with the shadow and it looked horrible. But on here, you don't even see it. Wheels and track mechanics. Oh, sweet. Well, thank you very much for your service. Appreciate that. So we got Tanganyika community. I'm not rushing it. I'm going to take my time, and it's one of those things where you got to be patient. And if you don't have patience, which I've learned, oh, look at that. I've learned the hard way that patience is what you need in this hobby. Tenfold. In Denmark, we have a YouTuber who made an iPad aquarium. So the background had a built-in screen. Kind of childish, but cool. That is cool. Went from cranberry to lemonade. The other thing that I've seen just recently, Jade Aquatics, is what if you made a light box behind the aquarium? Hear me out. Create like a thin layer, or, I mean, you don't even necessarily need a light box, but you have a light that shines up from the bottom of the tank, which is not bad, right? Creates cool shadowing. It's pretty fancy. Didn't I used to have a parrot? Absolutely. I had a parrot. His name was Yoshi. He was a Solomon Island eclectus. He was an amazing bird until my son was born. And I don't even know how to call it this, but it was like a cack. That's not East Coast, like, listen here, you big cack. No, it's like cack, like a loud screech, but it had this weird pitch to it that would cut through your body. And the house was it was my old house where I had the really cool African cichlid tank, Lake Malawi, mixed taps and peacocks. And I put the bird cage in a closet. The closet had a window. It was massive walk-in closet. It was perfect for it. Fit nicely. With all of the doors shut, he could wake my son up with this cack and put me 10 feet in the air. And he didn't stop. It didn't matter if I brought him close. It didn't matter if I put him far away. It didn't matter how much time I spent with him, how much education I gave him. I did a lot of work with this bird. And ultimately, through Butch Livingston from Southeast Cichlids, I was able to find somebody in Georgia that had a bird sanctuary that was looking for a male eclectus. And so the two things that I thought after doing all the research, taking him to a bunch of like specialists, this was serious because I do miss that bird a lot. And every time I see the figurine Yoshi or I see Mario and I see Yoshi, I think of him. And I had him 8 years. And this guy needed a male Solomon Island for a female. And it was sad because I knew that this was the best avenue for him. And I never wanted to give him up. And it came down to two things. He did not like my son in terms of taking attention. And two, he was in the mating kind of season for himself. Like this bird would hump, like he would hump feet. He was insane. But ultimately he went to a better place. And I think after like 2 months, the female ended up, having eggs. They mated, and it was like a perfect scenario for him. It was like this 12-foot long cage outdoors. It was perfect. Thank you for the shout out too, my brother. Bless you. And I had a parrot for 9 years called Jackie, but didn't have the time for her. So now I'm into aquariums, doesn't need the same attention. It's true. I had enough time for the attention. It was, he didn't like all of the other things that were happening. Assuming we're back to normal, are you going to OCA in November? Oh my goodness. Yes. Even if Sicce doesn't want to go, which I doubt, even if I just go, I will absolutely be there. That's my favorite. Like, I just gave a talk at the OCA. Like, that's my spot. Like, I love it. It's not my spot, but I just love being there. I love all the characters. It's fun. I'm doing well, Jade Aquatics. Thank you. Let's see. New to this game myself, slowly but surely ramping up. Slowly but surely is good. Keep it slowly. Don't know about Shirley. Keep an eye on her. My in-laws' dog killed my parrot. Good night, dude. Really? Way to suck the wind right out of that. That sucks, and I'm sorry to hear that. I know it's a true story. I wouldn't take you for somebody that would tell me something false like that, but that is not cool. So I thought I saw something from the Cichlid Shack. Yes, there already is one. It's called the Serene. There is Cichlid Shack. There is. You know who the Cichlid Shack is? Guys, have you ever had Mike's Harder Lemonade? I don't care how big of a man you think you are. This stuff is delicious. It has 8%, unlike your normal Bud Lights you drink. James Lago is the Cichlid Shack. It's got a ton of cool fish. Check it out. Cichlidshack.com, I think, is the website. I'm hoping it's still that. He's out of Arizona. It's nice. Family-run business. Used to be in his garage. Now he's got a beautiful brick-and-mortar front door service type thing. It's nice. But the Serene only comes in one size. And it ain't that. So you can improvise, right? You can get the Serene kit because they have the whole tank, right? So you can get the Serene kit, set it up. But if you don't have that kind of money, you can also improvise with some arts and crafts stuff. Go to Michael's, go to Hobby Lobby, whatever it is you're into, you can create something. I know firemouth cichlids are their albino ones. I've never seen any, but I'm sure there are somewhere. Don Gray, it's no shine. No, it is not shine, but it's inexpensive and it's better than beer. I don't like beer at all. Zero, zilch. I like cider. I like Angry Orchard with Cunningham. Nice little sip, watching the Malawis. But I don't like beer. Matter of fact, I bought Budweiser flavored beer to try it. The lemonade one was good. Everything else, I was like that kid that's like, it was bad. How does one deal with multiple tank syndrome? How does one deal with anything? If you have an addictive personality, you're going to be addicted to whatever it is you're into. And it could be something illegal. It could be aquariums, which can turn illegal, right? It just depends on what it is. So to deal with it, you need to set boundaries for yourself, ideally, right? So I just looked at the clock, 54 minutes. Good grief, you guys are probably sick of me. So set boundaries. One room. That's it. Cram as much as you can get in there. But remember, the more you have, the less you plan it out, the more work it's going to be in the long run. Now, I've been keeping a lot of small aquariums for a while, and they seem to be doing okay because evaporation, I fill them up, and boom, boom, it's good to go. Larger aquariums, you got to look at, am I going to be doing a lot of water changes? Do I have the right equipment? Like now I'm using a pump. I drop in, it's like, boom, fill it back up, good. So you got to look at what is good with time, because if you're sucking up too much time, they're sucking up too much attention, and ultimately you're spending too much money and your goal was to make money from it, then ideally it's not fun, right? So set boundaries for yourself with anything. Like Ninja Turtles, I love collecting them. I cannot wait to get cases back up. I have all my turtles, but the cases are gone. And ideally, I want to get cases to showcase them again because I like looking at them. Everybody used to ask to see them, and it was never about you seeing them. It was about me seeing them when I would walk into that room. So I want to get... Did you hear that? I think I had a bamboo shrimp trying to climb out. Not on my watch. So you got to set the boundaries, because every time I go into a store and I see something Ninja Turtles, I'm like, do I need that? Do I want that? The answer is you want it, but you don't need it, and you ain't got the cash. Probably shouldn't get it. Let's see. I found a balance between work and enjoyment. However, I always want more or something different. That's your personality. That's with anything. It's probably with cars. It's literally just about anything. Chalk up the spending and claim it as therapy. So the idea is, what can you manage, right? Make a plan for yourself. I'm serious when I say plan this out. It's with anything. And my phone is like just rocking. It could be anything. Plan it out, because if you bite off more than you can chew, you're going to have to ramp backwards instead of ramping up. Like Cichlids said, he built up, right? But he went from a garage to a store, and now he's full on business. That's different. To me, that's not multiple tank syndrome. That's like, hey, look, I need to diversify and continue. Where you and me setting up tanks in our rooms is like, I think I could fit a tank there. Let's do it. Like that's different. So ultimately, if it's making you happy and it's not hurting anybody else, and what I mean by hurting anybody else is like you got a family and you're spending too much money on aquariums and they don't have any money for food on the table, it's a problem. Don't do that. Serious note, I agree. Let's see. Hit the like button. Yes. Just go all in with 100 tanks. No, Cunningham. Stop enabling. Have you ever been to the Georgia Aquarium? I absolutely have. The whale sharks are phenomenal. And what is really, really cool, one of the first four YouTubers I ever were in contact with way in the beginning, his name was Cyber Aquarius. I'm not going to give his name, but his name was Cyber Aquarius. I'll give his first name. His name is Scott. And I was in Georgia. I called him. He met up with his two kids, and we went to the Georgia Aquarium, and it was a blast. I loved it. I've been there one other time after that. It's simply amazing. And if you're in the area, I highly recommend it. The whale sharks in itself are crazy. Later, time to be essential. James Rutherford, have a good night. Let's see what else. Achievement and small goals, how I'm starting. That's what I like to hear. Do you use Prime with Turbo Start? You can. Fritz has got a product called Complete. It's the same thing as Prime, identical. I think it's probably cheaper. But the idea is it's not going to take away the ammonia source. So the idea is bacteria die off with chloramines and chloramines. So you need to get rid of chloramine and chloramines and leave the ammonia present. And so it'll bind up the chloramine and chloramines and then transfer the ammonia to be non-toxic. It doesn't take the ammonia out of the aquarium. Prime doesn't take it out. It just renders it non-toxic. So the idea is then turbo start with its essential bacteria, which is not just beneficial bacteria. It is the right bacteria for consuming ammonia, which are called heterotrophs. And the heterotrophs go to town by sucking up that ammonia. So, and that's a food source for them. I saw something else that somebody had a question. Just go all in. Amen. Later, y'all. Good night to y'all. Vinny, have a good time. Chloroquine cure. Okay. Just random. What is the maintenance for a vivarium? Zero, zilch, nada. Don't need it. Trim the plants. Add some buggy bugs. Springtails are easy to culture. Maybe some isopods. Super easy. And that's it. There's no maintenance required. Once it's set up, it's good. You want to wipe the glass, wipe the glass. I only wipe the front. The sides are absolutely covered in whatever is on there. And the usage of complete is way less than prime. More bang for your buck. Yeah. If it is bioactive, then you're all set. Yeah. But what does bioactive mean? There was a question somebody had. Auto water change is a lifesaver. No, I remember when you installed that. That made your life a heck of a lot easier. Donatello is the man. Leonardo is the man. Donatello was the brains, but Leonardo was a leader. What are your future? There it is. Bracken. What are your future plans on the saltwater side? So I've got something brewing. I've got a tank similar to this, kind of in negotiation right now on if I want to do it or not. And I'm really excited. I'm not going to divulge any information, but it's going to be legitness. And I'm going to convert all the corals that I've got in that 16-gallon, which is absolutely heinous. I really don't. I do water changes. That's it. The coral are flourishing. I haven't lost any coral. Actually, I lost a head of hammer. But outside of that, I haven't had any issues. Matter of fact, it was 2 heads on one, and one just went, meh, and the other one's thriving. So I can only, maybe it outcompeted it. I have no idea. But I have it. I'm just looking to do, I don't want to do anything more than 75 gallons. This is a lot of work. It's not about testing. Excuse me. It's not about any of that. It just happens to do with what I think is achievable for me. But I've got Wilsona. I've got Euphilia. I've got Ghani. I've got, and some of you are like, shut up. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, what equals what? I've got Hollywood Stunner. I've got, I don't know. I named them myself. And they're all thriving. They're all growing. They're all eating. And it's really cool. It's a different thing, but it's more of, I need bigger space because a 16-gallon is too small and 100 gallons to me is too big for that. So I kind of sit somewhere in between the 60 to 75 gallon range, and I'm shooting for like a 62 gallon. And I want an all-in-one type system where everything comes at one time. I don't want to have to go out and get all the extra stuff. I'm not about that. I would love a 29 nano with some clownfish. Dude, Cunningham, you could do a nice 20-gallon all-in-one from any one of the major companies that does it, and you would absolutely love it. The problem is if you want to do clownfish and other stuff, when you add anemones to it, the anemones can move. And when they move, the anemones can kill. They sting other coral. And so ultimately, if you get an anemone, you just got to like put it up to the saltwater gods that sucker stays right where you place it, because you'll wake up 3 days from now, it'll be like, boop, 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 boop. Ah, you like that $100 coral head? Sucker. And it just murks. So the smaller the tank, the harder it is to do anemones, unless you're just doing a nice anemone, some nice rock, maybe some other stuff in terms of anemones so that they're not just like not expensive stuff. Like I wouldn't be putting any torch corals or anything like that in there, and getting your clownfish. And I say, go for the gusto on the clowns, like go for what you want. They can be pretty pricey, but ultimately those clowns, the designer clowns, the clowns that are being bred in captivity are more, but the price is coming down. They're just not pulling them from the ocean anymore. That's perfect. Can you really graduate the saltwater without ever having? I've had one. I've had multiple of that fish. A Phosochromis rostratus sand diver. I've had it. Yeah, you can. Just swapped my aquaponics to hydroponics. Pretty snazzy. I have a tank of Mbunas with a lush background. Love the word lush. I keep getting sunken bellies, have used medicated foods, NLS, Hex Shield, nothing works. Regular maintenance is done. What have you done? How often are you feeding? Well, this is a loaded question. And Brandon Mack, you're right. Clowns don't really need anemones. I think the problem becomes folks see clownfish and they think hosting, right? They think right? That's really cool to look at. So to me, a clownfish tank with no anemones is like, it's you can do it and it's fine. It's just not something that I like doing. And I know Josh, and I think that that's what he was thinking. Adrian, have a good night. Whoa, good info. And I don't even know if some of that was correct. So Renee, this is it. Last question. We'll end it because I'm hungry. Okay, I feed every other day, fed medicated foods daily for a week. So what I would do is if nobody's dying, you just see this sunken belly happening. It's probably has a lot to do with a lot of the movement that they're doing. Maybe the food you're feeding is not giving it all of the protein source. So what are you feeding every other day? Later, Jay, I have to go get ready to pick up the garbage in Manhattan soon. Thanks for taking my mind off this crap that's going on. Absolutely. I mean, it is what it is. It's just crap. So, Adrian, never mind. I'll wait. So, Renee, I want to know what. So, you're getting this little sunken belly. It's not necessarily sunken belly. It's not necessarily wasting. The fish may not be sick. It may just not be getting the absolute nutritional content that it needs based on the amount of energy it's outputting. It's just like a human being. So once you tell me what you're feeding, and it could be Northfin, it could be NLS, it could be Omega. I just need to know exactly what you're feeding every other day. And medicated food sucks, by the way. It's very, very, very difficult. And a lot of the medicated foods on the market today are not very good. But I'm not going to wait. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is what I would do. Northfin, frozen bloodworms, NLS probiotics. Stop feeding bloodworms. Stop. It's just causing more chaos in terms of nutrient enrichment in your water than anything else. Get rid of the bloodworms. Northfin, are you feeding veggie? Are you feeding cichlid? Are you feeding krill? What I would do ideally is I would be feeding them Krill Pro. So in order to beef them back up, I would be feeding veggie, right? And Boone are typically herbivores. Unless you get into specifics, some of them are going to eat, but it doesn't matter because they're all eating some sort of protein later on in their diet somewhere. So I would feed them every day, right? That's the idea. Every other day I'm feeding them veggie. And then on that other day, I'm going to supplement with Krill Pro. That's it. Pretty simple. And then if you've got kelp wafers, toss those in for grazing. Give it a couple weeks. You got to feed, right? Don't feed a lot, right? Allow them to get it. Don't be like, oh, goodness, this one didn't eat. Oh, this one, where did he go? This one is just still not eating, and I'm just very, very displeased with him. Don't do it. Just sprinkle it in and roll out. Pay attention to the fish. The fish over time, I give it like 2 or 3 weeks. They should start to ramp up in terms of the amount of food that they're taking in for nutrition content. And so if you're feeding every other day veggie, and then on those other days that you're not feeding, start supplementing with Krill Pro, I think you'll see a dramatic difference within 3 weeks. Jay, what's up? Let's go. I'm up in this. It doesn't matter, Dipsy Doo Dunkaroo, baby. It's over. It's an hour and 8 minutes. I've got to eat. See you, Corey. I'm headed off too. See you later, Jay. Keep up the positive vibes. Love it, brother. Sent you an email. We'll be in touch. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. You have a wonderful night. Do me a favor. Follow me on Instagram. I've got some really cool stuff happening. Check out the community page. Every Wednesday, same time, same channel, right here. And then Sunday, I highly recommend you check out that video because hopefully we get to do some stuff in here. But if not, we're going to be in the other room and we're going to be chit-chatting a little bit about some things that are going on with it. Oh, no, I'm late. How you been? I'm doing great. Thriving, living, having a good time. Next live stream, you got to make it funny, please. What? What do you mean make it funny? Bruh, I'm living funny. I'm funny looking. Like, we have it all. Chatty chats. Absolutely. So, folks, thank you again. I appreciate everything you've done. And you help make it fun by asking some really crazy questions. And I've got this mic. I don't even know if it was working, but you know what's next. Holla. Now to end it.